Hello, eRank. Hopefully that is us live. Welcome to another Thursday with me, Pam Duffy, and him,
me, Bryan.
Yay.
How's everyone doing on this fine Thursday morning, afternoon, evening, or Friday
Friday.
morning, depending on where you are?
Yes. Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. And yeah, just done a new thing, if anyone's noticing. We've attempted to launch a poll in the live chat, so we'll see how that goes. Just noticed that Etsy did it in the Etsy up, so we're testing that out. So I don't know how to do it. But so what we're going to be talking about today is a couple of subjects and then all your questions. First things first, we want to talk about this email that Etsy's just sent out, just to calm any nerves if anyone has, and then we'll be going on to talk about the new changes that Etsy announced to shipping. We'll talk about that in depth when we get there, but I've just got a poll. I just want to see, for you guys that know about it, let us know if this is something you're concerned about or not. And I've even put not what country, if you're in the US or not, and we'll see what people think of that, and we'll see how a poll runs as well. So thank you to everyone who's clicking on that.
And if you have any questions, throw them in the chat now. eRank related, Etsy related, just general life related. If you want, just throw them in the chat now. We won't necessarily get to them instantly, but that way we have questions when we get to the question and answer phase.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you don't question us, Debbie did suggest that you and me had to sing, and that's not going to happen. So guys, help us.
You guys will not like that. You got to get some questions in. Otherwise,
yeah.
Otherwise, get earplugs or some sort of cotton swab to clear up the blood that will drip from your ears. So
pretty much, yeah. So definitely get some questions. Right, so let's start with this email first of all, and I haven't had this yet. A few people messaged me with it, but I'm stealing from Bryan's Facebook group, Making Etsy Make Sense, because he posted it there because he's always on the ball. So yeah, in fact, there's your email. Do you want to go over it, Bryan?
All right. It says, "Hi there. We've noticed you using third-party services to help run your Etsy shop. Please note that these services may overwrite any changes you make to your listings directly on Etsy. You may have seen that we recently launched the new Etsy search visibility page in Shop Manager, which gives you personalized insights and actions to take to improve your search visibility, such as adjusting your shipping prices. Because you're using a third party to manage your listings, we recommend that you review your prices to ensure they reflect the changes you intended to make. If your listings do not reflect the updates you made on Etsy, we recommend updating your listings via the third-party services you currently use, which will push an update to your Etsy listings. As a reminder, starting October 1st, shipping prices under $6 will be prioritized in search. Keep in mind, this applies to any changes that you make to your listings on Etsy. That said, if you're using third-party services for other listing details beyond shipping prices, we recommend you follow the same process by updating your listings via third-party services. We're working on providing a more unified experience across third-party services and your on-platform experience on Etsy, and we'll let you know as updates are made." And then it mentions that it's not monitored.
Yeah, we're done. You have a fantastic reading voice. You should really do. You should do a little book reading channel.
Because I'm trying to read on the screen, and it's.
I should have given you some fair warning.
It up over here.
Yeah. So, do we need to panic, Bryan? Is eRank doing something terrible?
eRank does not have publishing rights to your listings. So you don't have to worry about eRank. A lot of that is about Printify and other services that do actually change your shipping prices or edit your listings or do anything like that. And they're basically just saying, verify that they're doing what they're supposed to do and make sure that you want those integrations there. And you could check your integrations by going to your Etsy dashboard, going to integrations, and then there's a manage tab, and that'll show you all of the apps that are connected to your Etsy shop. And if there's any that you don't recognize or any that you don't use anymore, that you haven't used in 5 years, you could just disconnect those. And at any point in time, you could go to that site. Like if you disconnect Vela, you could always go back to the Vela site, reconnect, and you're good to go. So you don't have to worry about those emails. It's literally just a reminder saying, be careful about who's connected to your shop. Because there are third-party apps that can edit your listings. Print on demand stuff is the best example because it's actually creating listings, it's creating shipping profiles, and and so it can do a lot of different things. If an unscrupulous person had that access, they can edit things that you don't necessarily want edited. So that's why you should check what you have connected. But otherwise, you're good to go. You will also see OAuth by Bevy in there. If you've ever joined the Etsy app or any of the other Etsy events, that's their authentication thing. So you don't have, that's not a weird one. That's just something that they use to authorize you to access their events. So that's not anything you have to worry about. And yeah, just check it out. Make sure that everything is connected the way that you want it to connect.
Absolutely. The other thing I think Etsy are possibly suggesting there is, because with this shipping thing, they're offering or planning to offer, I don't know if it's there because I'm not in the US, a tool to help you update your shipping to what they want it to be. And I just think there's a concern that you might change it on Etsy and it might not reflect in, say, your print on demand listings or vice versa. So they're saying just to make sure that everything is the same. Your prices are what you expect them to be. I think the compatibility hasn't been 100% ironed out yet.
So just make sure that when you do change the prices on one, that it does reflect on the other. If you make the change on Etsy and you're using a print-on-demand service, it might automatically overwrite the new prices based on their prices. So you just want to make sure that they're changing on both. And Etsy actually recommended in that email to change it on the other service. So change it on Printify, Printful, Gelato, whichever one you use. Change it there. That way there's nothing. That way it overwrites to the correct price instead of overwriting to the original higher price.
Yep. And we just thought we'd bring this up because it literally came out by Etsy just a few hours ago, and people obviously are worrying about it. So yeah, it's not saying anything's wrong or anything, just to check, because obviously there's changes. A lot of people are wanting to change what's going on in their shop because of this. And that is a good time to dive in and close the poll. I've never done a poll on YouTube before, so I can see that 52% of you said you were worried about. Yes, we've got 52% of you are worried about the Etsy factoring shipping price into search rankings from October the 1st. So 52% yes, and I'm from the US. 4% yes, and I'm not from the US. So we can put the rest of you's mind. That 4%. Absolutely, we can put your mind at rest. 38% just said, no, you're not worried about it. It'll be what it'll be. That's the attitude I like. I haven't led you at all with my responses here. And 4% have said, nope, it's better than before. So that's interesting. So let's show what.
And for the people that are worried, for the 52% of you that are worried about it, one big thing to note is shipping price has always been a factor. It's always been a factor in ranking. It's been part of the algorithm along with dozens of other factors, sales and listing engagement and the way your shop does, getting reviews. All of those factors have always gone into search ranking, and shipping price has been one of those factors the whole time. Now they're actually just giving a number. They're actually just saying this is the definite number and it will gain a little bit extra.
Well, actually, there was a number before that many of us have kind of forgotten about. It caused a whole lot of stress when it came out, but this is why I put the no, it's better than before option, because up until recently, Etsy was saying for US sellers would be given priority placement in search for free shipping. So $6 is better than free.
That is true.
And so if we're worrying about it, which I get, so many of us are, if we're worrying about it, it's actually getting easier to hit what they're saying for. We don't know how much priority placement or a boost in search or what any of that actually means. My general feeling is that sales trump everything. If you get tons of sales, you could have $200 shipping. If people are still buying, Etsy doesn't care. So it's a factor.
Exactly. It's a factor amongst dozens and dozens of factors. And they might add a bit more weight to that particular factor, but it's not the only factor by any. Like, you will not jump to page 1 just because you offer free shipping and no one else does, or under $6 shipping and no one else does. Your listing still has to sell. Your listing still has to have the momentum and all of the other factors to get it there. Shipping is just going to have a touch more weight now.
Exactly. So here is the article that Etsy gave us. We're updating how postage price is factored into search for US domestic listings. And just the main mention here is we have announced that beginning on the 1st of October, US listings with domestic postage prices lower than $6 will be prioritized in search. So firstly, for the 4% of you who are worried and you're not from the US, doesn't matter.
Affect you whatsoever.
Yep. If you're from the US and your domestic shipping is under $6, but your international shipping is over $6, again, doesn't bother you. Yep. So it's only domestic postage prices lower than $6. And there are some exceptions that we'll get to shortly. So here they told us what's new.
Can you zoom in a bit?
Potentially, yes. I don't have my fancy mouse that you talked me into. Oh, how's that so little? Yeah. Bryan talked me into buying a mouse, but that's not here. That's on my other computer that has much more buttons that I can zoom in. I have to do it the old-fashioned way. I am loving them. However, I have noticed it's weighty, and whenever I fling it across the room, it goes so much further, so much force. See, I need a wired mouse to stop just accidentally launching it.
That's awesome.
So what's new is your item should be priced so that it can both be profitable and competitive, but high postage prices can discourage shoppers from completing a purchase. In fact, buyers have told us that expensive postage is a top 10 barrier to purchase on Etsy. So that will have been a survey that Etsy done that I don't think we ever got to see the results. They just tell us about it, which is nice. I like to have the data, but I believe that people, I feel that myself. When you're looking for items to buy on places like eBay or something, it absolutely annoys me when you see a price and then you click on it and suddenly the shipping price comes up and it's really high. That's off-putting.
Which is one of the reasons that we do pay fees on the shipping. eBay is the one that originally started that because people would put an item for $1 and shipping for $99 instead of the other way around. And there was no fees on shipping. So that would be fee avoidance. They're trying to pay less fees. So eBay was like, no, we are going to stop that practice and you pay the same fee for everything. So all marketplaces started doing that as well.
Absolutely. So, second point we've already said, starting the 1st of October, we'll be updating how postage price is factored into search. So everyone who feels that something's changed, are concerned that something's changed already, it hasn't yet. Yeah. It's not till the 1st. Yeah. Why $6? Our data tells us once postage prices are $6 or above, buyers are less likely to make a purchase. Again, I think this depends on the item. If I'm buying a table, I might be very surprised at $5.99 shipping.
I think a lot of Etsy is made up of smaller items. You got stickers, you got small jewelry. Like there's a lot of smaller items, bookmarks, that kind of thing. That if a $5 item had a $10 shipping price, and it was just a small item that's going in an envelope, that would definitely turn people away. But like you're saying, if you are selling a table or something larger, then it's or something more expensive, especially, then people are willing to pay more. If you're selling a $2,000 diamond handmade ring, then I don't know if $6 or $15 shipping will really tip the balance on that one.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, my more expensive items, I roll them into free shipping because then I can choose what insurance level, and
Yeah.
I can do more. And I think, yeah, if you were doing a very expensive diamond ring, putting that little extra into the price won't even be noticed, and you can make sure that you are really doing the best shipping, because you don't want to lose something like that in shipping where possible.
Sometimes you don't want the buyer to make the decision on shipping choice. You want to be able to make that.
Exactly. Yeah. So our data shows that shifting some of your postage costs into your item price while keeping the total price the same can be an effective way to improve your sales. To support you, we've launched a new tool that lets you lower your US domestic postage prices in bulk and optionally adjust your price. This helps you recover your postage costs while keeping your prices competitive. Yeah, so this is the thing that we were mentioning that is possibly not quite backwards compatible with your apps that make changes to your listings. So, yes,
Like print on
sadly,
demand will actually edit your delivery profiles or shipping profiles, depending on the language. And so if you don't change it at your print on demand provider, then when it re-updates to Etsy, it'll have the old price instead of your new lowered price.
yep, exactly. Because delivery needs vary based on the type of item and where it's dispatching from, we exclude certain categories and items dispatched from outside the US from this new search criteria at this time. See a full list of excluded listings in the bit we'll look at in a minute. I got excited about that and thought they were going to exclude tables and big heavy things, but that's not what they're on about.
I mean, to be fair, if you're selling tables or hand carved armoires or anything like that, your competition is those items as well. So no one really gets search priority because everybody's going to have that same issue. So you kind of have to think about your own category or own niche as well. It's not just about all of Etsy, because just because a sticker gets priority doesn't mean that your table will lose priority.
Exactly. Yes, you're only competing against your competition.
Exactly.
That's deep, that is. Yeah. um, and yep, they're just telling you about the tool to update it. So the exceptions, the excluded list, things that are accepted. They've worded this weirdly because they're saying you'll get like a priority, like a boost in search, but they're excluding things from not getting the boost. It doesn't even make sense when I'm trying to explain. But things that aren't being factored into this are digital listings because they're already free shipping. Yeah. Listings from US sellers to non-US destinations. Yep. Listings from sellers outside the US. Listings priced over $35 from shops that offer a free delivery guarantee, because again, they're already free.
Yeah.
Shipping's already free. And listings that use calculated postage. So if you're in the US, this is the way around it, I guess, is to use calculated postage. I can't comment on how good that is because we don't have that option in the UK. So I've never actually seen it.
Great.
It's good. Is it cool?
In the listing, you put the size and the weight of the item, and then in your delivery settings, you put the package preferences, which are the box sizes or package sizes that you have, and then it's in the hands of USPS, Canada Post, UPS. I think the US also gets, and they do the calculating for you, and so those are actually excluded. So if you want it to be accurate postage, instead of just using a fixed postage and guessing what people are going to pay, then you are excluded from this, which is perfect.
That does make it a lot easier. If you're
Yeah.
selling big things, you know how big they are, so you can do the calculated shipping, hopefully. Yeah. I don't know why we don't have that in the UK, because it's really not difficult.
It's got to be something with Royal Mail and just the way that their API works, and it just doesn't feed to other services properly. It's got to be something along those lines.
But when we buy shipping labels, they know how much to charge us.
When you buy shipping labels, but Royal Mail might not talk to other external services. Do you guys have third-party services like Pirate Ship? And I know that that's Pirate Ship is in the US, and then in Canada we have Stallion Express and Chit Chats and stuff like that, and they all get that information from the local carrier. So it's possible that Royal Mail does not.
Oh,
give
yeah.
that. I'm not sure. Although if you could buy Etsy labels, then there is an API of some sort.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
No idea. You got to reach out to etsy.co.uk. You got to reach out to the UK team and see if there's anything they could do about that. There's got to be a way to reach them directly. I'm not sure.
Well, it's not a factor in this anyway. It's just interesting because that sounds a bit easier.
Oh, it's so convenient. It's so convenient.
Oh, well, one day it took them many. We only just got shipping labels, I think, just before they started the Starla. So
really,
yep.
They focus on the US first, and then Canada, and then stretch out to the rest of the world.
Yep. Okay, so I think that is all that Etsy's done this week that we needed to talk about there. Yes. So let's dive back into the chat and see if we have any questions. Way back. So Kat has been waiting patiently for 20 minutes, hopefully. So what do you think Etsy will do when they increase our fees? Tiered subscriptions, percentage increase? I'm not going to say they're not going to increase our fees, but...
Why? Do you know something? Is something happening that we don't know about yet? What do you know, Pam? What do you know?
I don't know anything totally, but I do know that Etsy didn't increase their fees for many, many, many years, and then they did it twice in comparatively quick succession, and that caused an uproar. And I think...
I mean, quick succession was like 4 years apart.
Yeah, it is quick when you've been on it for like 15 years and suddenly they do it twice. I don't think they will be able to... I think for even their public image, I don't think they would be able to do it again. There is a potential for something else, tiered subscription or a percentage increase. Unfortunately, they have that what am I thinking of? The thing they just gave to Canada that we've had for ages, where there's a
regulatory fee.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, so basically Canada's just had a 1% increase. So
1.15.
1.15, yeah. So there might be sort of sneakier ways coming in. They really, if they were sensible, they could have the Etsy Plus, make that good. Worth
actual benefits instead of just aesthetic changes. If they actually gave something amazing with the Etsy Plus, more people would probably use it.
Yep. I mean, I think I love absolutely it. Yeah, I've been running it for years. I don't even notice. But I am absolutely sure Etsy will do things to try and increase their revenue. That's a kind of given. They are. I mean, they're testing things to get more money off of sellers. That sounds really sarcastic when I say it like that. But
for buyers, they have. I think it was this month that they were doing the test of buyers paying a monthly fee to get almost like a Prime subscription, but for Etsy.
I'm trying to remember the name of that. It's just
I cannot remember.
It's like Etsy Insider or something bizarre sounding.
Something like that.
But anyway, so we'll see how that goes. That's another option. But Unfortunately, I've said before, I don't think they'll increase fees, and they do. So I can't say they won't, but I don't think so, because Etsy also has a public image issue at the moment that they're dealing with.
Etsy is still one of the lower fees of the big guys. Like eBay and Amazon both have higher fees than Etsy. And so they might increase just to try and be like, oh, if they could charge that much, we probably can too. But with all of the emerging marketplaces coming out that are charging significantly less, I'm really hoping they don't try that.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
another thing that they did was the offsite ads. That was another way that they found a way to almost force people to pay extra fees here and there.
Yeah, there can be cleverer ways to go about it. But yeah, you just discovered the other week that Folksies had a big boost in
Yep.
being noticed. So yes, when Etsy holds the entire market for everything, it can kind of do what it wants. I'm not being mean about Etsy. This is how business works. But when some competitors start snipping in at its heels, not that Folksy or Go Imagine or anybody's close to snipping at Etsy's heels, but when they start growing up a bit, then Etsy does have to sort of think twice.
Etsy might be the biggest right now, but MySpace was the biggest at one point too.
I discovered I still had a Bebo account. If anyone remembers that, I never understood the point of it. And then what was it? This is my reminiscence. This is like driving my mum through the middle of Glasgow, and she goes, "That used to be a Boots." I'm now going. I remember before all that, it was Life Journal, which I never
Yeah,
understood.
still have my live journal.
Yep.
Nobody go
But
find it. You don't want to do that.
oh dear.
90s were a different time.
Yeah. Teen angst. I'm glad I didn't
Pretty much.
update any of that. I think I just yeah, I was just the very end of everything before Facebook came along that I started to pay attention to it all. I liked MySpace because you had to learn to code. It was fun.
Fun things.
Yeah. Little Schofield. If I'm switching my shop niche completely, deleting all old listings and adding new ones, does it badly impact my rank in search? How does the Etsy algorithm? How will the Etsy algorithm be affected? What are the best steps to do it? Um,
I mean,
that's a
you're creating completely new listings from nothing, and so that's how those listings will be seen. They'll be seen as brand new listings, and Etsy will not understand what they are yet because they understand your shop target audience as one thing, and now you're changing it. So it will take a little bit, as if you're starting a new store. It will take a little bit to get those listings found, get them in the get Etsy understanding who to show them to. But I mean, you don't drop in rank like your shop what's it called, your shop marketplace score. That will not be affected. Any sales that you're making, that still counts as a positive thing towards your shop, so your shop is still seen in a positive light. So it's just those new listings that won't have any reach yet because Etsy doesn't know who to show them to.
yeah. You don't lose anything apart from all of the ranking in your old niche because you're not using any of those keywords or anything. So it's not a bad thing. It's probably slightly easier than opening a new shop, as Bryan said, because you've got all those metrics that tell to Etsy that you're a good shop. If you've had sales, good customer support, that's great. Etsy does say when you create listings, they look at how old listings did to see how you would do for the keywords. So you don't have that kind of signal to Etsy, but you wouldn't have with a new shop either. So you're not quite starting from scratch, but yeah, you're moving in on new keywords. And also anyone who's followed you or anything in the past, they followed you for what you made before, so they are unlikely to be interested in your new stuff. But sometimes we got to make a change,
Yep.
so it happens.
Pivot. There's nothing wrong with a good pivot.
Exactly. Sometimes it really works great. Sometimes it happens on us by accident. I seem to be a
Yeah.
bookmark shop more than anything just now. That was never the plan. So, oh, Debbie, thank you very much. USPS will be raising rates on October the 3rd. So look at the increased rate if you're changing your prices. Yeah, and guys, UK's just went up horrifically. I was just shipping something to France today, and I was like, "Oh, that's a good bit more than it used to be."
Is it a big change? Well, the USPS changed it twice a year, every year basically, and it only goes up like just a little amount, so you don't notice it. But if they did it once every year or once every couple of years, then it would be a massive change, and then it's a shock. But when they just increment it by a little bit, it's
They
like
sneak it
fine.
in. Yep. It's worth looking at though, because if you forget about them, even little changes, it's very easy to go, it's only little, I won't bother with it. And then 3 years from now, you're like, what's just happened? So it's very easy to wonder, to forget about things, and a little becomes a lot,
Yeah, they
basically.
compile quite nicely.
Yep. Um, Sylvia, and this was with the poll. I was excited. We did a poll and it worked. If anyone missed that. I like technology when it works. I'm not worried because I'm outside the US, just curious to see if anything will change for us, people outside the US. Shipping under $6 from us will be boosted. The wording that Etsy said there was not at this time. And others from us will be deboosted. I'm not sure deboosted is a term, but I like it. um, but there's no mention of, we're not going to get a boost or not a boost in search. It's difficult to see what they mean. They have worded it badly.
They worded it very poorly where so if two are on the same level and one gets a boost, where are the exceptions? Are they in between the no boost and boost? Are they at that boosted level? Are they at the non-boosted level? Etsy has not made that clear, unfortunately, and I assume they did that for a reason, but we actually just don't know. They haven't come out and said, I've asked customer service and they have no idea. They're just general customer service, so they wouldn't. But unfortunately, that has not been made perfectly clear and spelled out for us. So there's no way of
Yeah.
knowing. They said
Well
there are
explained
exceptions,
with the
which means that
levels.
it shouldn't be impacted, but
It shouldn't be hurt, yes, but yes, you explained it perfectly with the levels. I was trying to think how to explain that, but yes, if we're not being penalized, it makes it sound like it's not a priority in search. It makes it feel like there's a penalty for not doing it, but it doesn't say that. And Sylvia's saying, "I'm sorry, my English is funny." No, your English is absolutely fine. I love the idea of deboosted. I like different ways of saying things. Yes. Um, there'll be more space for non-US sellers. Who knows? We'll see. That would be nice. There is people from the US do buy from the rest of us. I think for the past many years, a good 15 years, my shop has always had more sales from the US than anywhere else. So we're even it's not a case of being penalized. Some people obviously don't want to buy from foreign places because it takes a while to get there. I'm sure we're all the same. If I'm wanting something quickly, I'm going to look at what's in the UK because I'll get it in the next couple of days. If I'm wanting something uniquely handmade for me, I'll look at who does the best thing for what I want. And people in the US do that, and people everywhere else. And to be honest, for those of us who are not in the US, people in the US, just cover your ears just now. But we have the bonus because many US sellers don't ship internationally.
yeah,
So we have the rest of the world to sell to as well. So, yeah.
it's true. And I could confirm over 90% of my sales. I'm in Canada, but over 90% of my sales are to the US.
Yeah, I can totally see why as well, especially at this time of the, well, coming up to this time of the year. I don't know about in Canada. We were having this conversation in the Facebook group. Someone from the UK was asking about like Halloween decor, because we just don't here. Like
Oh,
nobody I mean, you might put a couple of things up or something, but nobody makes an entire horror cave of their house and does the whole thing. Not
and doesn't do the whole outside decorations like you do for Christmas?
more people are doing it, but more isn't many. It's enough when you go past, you're like, I wonder what their electricity bill is going to be like, and that's about it.
It's still weird to me because the UK is the biggest goth scene and has been since like the 80s. And growing up, anytime I wanted like skulls or anything like that, I had to order them from the UK. And it's sad to know that you guys don't love Halloween as much.
Oh, we love Halloween, but we just
You
decorate
don't
all.
go all out.
You have it. You either have it in your house all the time, or
There. That's true.
yeah, don't change it out. So in Canada, you decorate big time
Oh
for
yeah,
Halloween.
we get like we have Home Depot here, and people get like the 12-foot tall skeletons and all that type of stuff. People have whole yard displays, skeletons climbing up the house, and zombies everywhere, and people go all out here. It's great.
I think it's awesome. I used to feel so jealous when I watched like American shows and it would come around to the Halloween version and the houses were all decorated and it was so cool and exciting.
Yeah.
But I am really honest and I am very lazy, and I think the idea of cleaning my house for every holiday sounds like a nightmare.
You don't have to clean it. You have one tree, and that's your Halloween tree, and then your Christmas tree, and then your Valentine's Day tree, and then your Mother's Day tree, and then your summer tree, and then your Father's Day tree, and then your back to school tree, and then it's Halloween again. One tree.
Right.
One tree
Gotcha.
to solve it all.
One decoration. So we just need like reversible tinsel and things like that.
Exactly. And lights can always be like you just get RGB lights and then you just change the color for the season and you're good to go.
Yay.
One tree to rule them all.
Oh, thanks. Debbie's put the link for the USPS. You obviously can't click through this, but if you're in the chat, you should be able to. And yeah, okay. So excellent. Debbie's got rights to post links. Never sure. YouTube sometimes doesn't let us do that. Jillian decided to switch to calculated shipping, then realized I can charge a shipping and handling charge. So now I'm charging the same amount I was before and still using calculated shipping.
Yeah.
Cool. Yep. And that is important. Like your shipping price isn't just the price the post office takes or the price you pay the post office. You have materials. You have boxes and stationery you put in it, the little stickers you put on the side and everything.
Your time to package, your time to bring it to the post office.
Yep.
All that has to be factored in.
That. So absolutely as well, if you can add a handling charge, fantastic. Totally do that. And if you don't have calculated shipping and you're putting your full shipping in, yeah, bump it up a wee bit.
Oh yeah, you can't see that. So when you're using calculated shipping, at the very bottom of the options after you choose which shipping service you want to use, at the very bottom there's the handling fee, and you have it for domestic and for international. Those are actually separate, so you can charge more if it's going international because now you have more forms to fill out, supposedly, that kind of thing. But that's also one way that you can charge less for domestic and charge more for international, or the opposite way around. Because the domestic and global pricing tool that we have in our listings doesn't always work very well. Sometimes it reverses the prices where people are paying the domestic even though they're international. That can sometimes get messed up. So having that as your handling fee or additional fee within calculated shipping is absolutely amazing.
Brilliant. Do you have lots of different forms? Literally everything's printed out from Etsy for me.
If you're using an Etsy label, then it's just then it's printed with the label. If you're doing it through the post office or through certain other services, you still have to fill out a CN22 customs document.
Yeah, okay, fair. It's the same here.
Yeah.
I know when I started on Etsy, people used to talk about all the things you had to do for shipping, and it's like put an extra invoice on the outside of your package and do it. And I'm like, I went into my post
Etsy does
office,
it
like,
all.
do I have to do all this? And they're like, no.
No, they don't care.
Yeah,
All you literally need, if you're doing Etsy labels, that's all you need is that one label. You slap it on the box and you are good to go.
exactly. Um, so Michelle asks, how does calculated shipping work if the customers buy multiple pieces that could raise the weight by a lot? Good question.
Because shipping is done by weight or dimensional weight, depending whichever one is lower or whichever one's higher, rather. Sorry. If someone buys a sticker that has a calculated shipping rate of $2 and they buy a bowling ball which has a calculated rate of whatever that would be, what it will do is use the size that you've put into your listing and the package preferences to pick which box it's going to go in and then base it on that weight. And so if someone buys a lightweight and a heavyweight item and it all fits in one box because your item sizes Tetris it in properly, then it'll base it on that weight. So they'll be paying the proper weight for whatever items they add together. A lot of my items are different sizes, different shapes, and so they go in different boxes. And by having the data in the item and in the package preferences, it knows which ones will fit into the correct box. If things don't fit in the same box, so you have two things but it doesn't fit in any of the boxes that you have together, it'll charge two calculated separate shipping. And so when you go to create an Etsy label, you'll actually see two labels there. When you go to the order preview, it'll actually show you the two labels or the two charges and the dimensions of the box that it decided to put it in. So you will see all that information, and it knows, it calculates it based on everything. So whether it fits together, whether it's multiple boxes, whether it all fits in one box and has a different weight, it's calculating all of that.
That sounds pretty clever.
It's so convenient.
I think we only had the option of how much for an extra item,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, with fixed shipping, you only have a fixed price and then additional price. So if someone buys 3 of it, it adds just the additional price instead of adding the original price over and over again. But with calculated shipping, if they order 3 of an item and all 3 of those don't fit in a single box that you've specified, then it'll actually charge 3 times that initial fee.
Wow, yeah. But bear in mind, I'm assuming everybody can. If you charge too much, you can refund customers portions of what you've got, and it doesn't hurt your listing in any way.
Exactly. We have to do that sometimes because if someone buys, because we bundle items, so someone could buy 1 of something or 10, a pack of 10, and the pack of 10 is going to weigh more. And so if they buy 1 versus 10, it's different shipping prices. So we charge on the higher end, we base the weight on the higher end, and then we refund any difference.
Cool. So you're not going to get dinged by Etsy for this. If you're using the calculated shipping anyway, then that works for whatever the boost or not boost or whatever is happening. And by the way, I will say, everyone worried about the free shipping thing. And since this has happened, so many people have said they don't see a difference. People are seeing they seem to do better without free shipping. So I don't think it made that much difference. So I'm not holding out that this is all going to make much difference. So don't tie yourself in knots trying to fit in with it. But if you're doing the calculated shipping and you charge a little bit extra to cover what you need to cover, you're not going to get dinged for it, and you can refund if necessary.
Exactly. And actually, one thing everyone should do, just because there is still, how many days are in this month? So there's still 11 days until the switch over to October 1st and when things will be impacted. Add things to your listing changes on eRank right now. When you go to listing optimization and changes, start tracking your listings. On the basic plan, you could track 5. On the pro plan, you could track 20. And that Oh, perfect. And so if you start tracking your listings, you can see, and it's under changes.
It's
When you
going to
start
take a minute.
when you start tracking your listings, you could then see some changes that were made. So you can see that you changed your price. You could see when you changed all that, and then your daily views. Are you tracking any listings right now?
Yep, I've been tracking some listings since this
Perfect.
started.
So you will see every day, it takes a snapshot of the listing. So when you make a change, you will actually see the change on the changes page. And then in the total views, quantity available, and total favorites, you'll see the increase. So you can see that there's green boxes on that second last column. That's your total views column. So Pam's views have been going up for that listing in all of those days. Every single one of those days has seen more views, which is a positive thing. So this will kind of give you an idea of if your listing starts not ranking as high, if you start getting seen less, if people are clicking on your listing less, that'll kind of let you know that that's happening. So if you start tracking it now, you can almost get a baseline. So if you normally get 10 views a day, and then all of a sudden you're getting 40 views a day, that means that you're doing something right, that you made a change that worked, or that Etsy changed and that change is working for you. If you start seeing only 1 view a day, so your views have dropped significantly, that means that something is off. Maybe your listings are being deboosted. Maybe you're having some other issue with the listing. And so come the second week of October, I would recommend going back into there and looking at the listings that you tracked and just see what's been going on, just to tell if you have been having issues with that listing, or if you are not included in the boost, or if someone's boosted above you. If your competition is getting a bigger boost than you, you might want to look into your listing and see what you can do to change it up. And so that listing changes tool is absolutely amazing for anything like this. When there's a big change coming, start tracking the listings that you want to track. That way you know that they are still performing the way that you want them to perform after the change.
Absolutely. Great way to do that. And for what the tool's actually designed for as well. When you're
Yeah.
going to make a change yourself, it's invaluable not only to see if the change was working, but to remember what on earth you did. My memory is shocking. I was trying to look there to see I hadn't done any changes on that listing, but with the red and the green things, you can see the title and the tags. If you've added anything to them, that'll be in green. If anything's been removed, that'll be in red. You can see what actually you changed. This is so invaluable because I make so many changes and then forget why I made them and then come back to them. So yeah, it's super helpful.
Yeah.
Kat, yeah, good point for the potential Etsy fee raise. I have not heard anything specifically, by the way, before anyone freaks out. But whenever they give us new features, they raise the fees as a fair exchange of value. That's what they say. Yep, that is.
I do love that you put that in quotes. I would have just put value in. Fair exchange of value.
It's like my saltiness is rubbing off on people now. This is bad. But it is a tactic that plenty of people use, and it makes sense. If something's going to be taken away or something's going to be badder, we're using bad English today. If something's going to be worse, give something else in return. So it's putting the medicine in a sugar cube and stuff, makes it a little more attractive.
Just a little bit of sugar makes the medicine go down.
Yep.
Oh, there's questions. Sorry, we shouldn't be singing. There's questions.
Yes, we promise no singing unless they give us questions. Oh, nice one, Anna. I think people from the US are more open to international buying. Some people absolutely love it. I think this is something that Josh Silverman said, but I've seen it. Like, he's struck up a friendship with someone in Europe because there is a kind of premium if you're buying a certain thing to say, oh, this is German manufactured, or this came from a hand weaver in Greece or something. It does sound nicer, doesn't it?
No.
So yeah, absolutely. Oh, Sylvia, in Italy, we don't really like Halloween that much. Oh, you can celebrate with us. We'll have Halloween with you.
We never did do Halloween at Nona and Nono's house, so it's not big in the Italian world because of the Catholicism and all that type of stuff. And
See,
sad.
we do it, or we did it in Scotland. Well, people do it less. So it's a history with Pam, but not like the American thing. Before trick or treating, we have what's called guising, which is going house to house, but you have to do something like do a poem or do a little dance or something to get your candy, basically.
Like Christmas caroling, but for Halloween.
Yeah, I mean, everyone still dresses up because that's a nice little pagan thing. So, but yes, we definitely did it and do like ducking for apples and all those things. But we dress ourselves up more than dressing the house up. But yes, Melissa, I totally second this one. A video tour of all the decor in Canada so we can see it. Yes, please.
Oh, there's a lot. Oh, there's a lot. I should have pictures from last year. I'll see if I can find them and post them in the group.
I'm waiting up for I don't know if you see the guy on YouTube that always does a big display to music and stuff outside his house.
I love that guy.
Yep, I'm waiting to see that because some of it's definitely creepy sometimes, some Halloween-y stuff. I think 2 years ago he got 100 drones to do a light up flying. That was amazing. Yeah. However, I enjoyed watching it on YouTube. If I lived next door to him, probably not so much. Oh, Gillian, Mardi Gras are huge here in the South. Cool. Yep. I'm losing track of the chat again. I can't read and talk. Oh, Melissa. Wait, we don't have to do all the extra invoice stuff? Not as far as I know. You're sticking 3 copies of your invoice on the outside of the box or something. I don't know where that came from, but I went in and I seriously talked to my postmaster and he was like, nope, never heard of that.
UPS requires that, and they still require that for brokerage fees and all that type of thing. But otherwise, they don't. Like, no local carriers require that.
Yep. Yeah, I suppose it made it easier for some of the big guys, but yeah.
For the couriers versus the carriers.
Oh, Gillian's saying she was tracking stuff when she had her Handmade Alphas Pro boost. But bear in mind, when you switch to free, you won't see your upgraded things. So yes, if you're tracking something, I'm afraid you said we get 1 to track for a free account. Yeah. I think, yes. So make sure it's the most important. Track your biggest listing, but if you want to track a few things, then have your subscription for the period of time that you want to track it.
Yeah. And if you did lose some of the items that you were tracking because you did drop down to the free trial, to the free tier from the pro plan, which I believe is what Starla offers, you still have, I think it's kept for between 3 and 6 months. So if you were to upgrade your plan, you would now still have those tracked. All the data is still tracked. Everything is like it was. If you downgrade and then re-upgrade, it's all still there.
Susanna, do we actually need to make changes to the listing to use the tool? Not at all. You can track any listing that you want, or depending on your tier level, any number of listings. And as Bryan said earlier, if you're going to make any changes, or if Etsy's going to make any changes, it's best to track things before any of the changes happen, so you get a baseline of what changes every day. And it's looking at not just your views and everything, but also even favorites. Don't freak out if you see your favorites go down. I think Etsy removes them from, or dead accounts and things, so you'll always see things drop sometimes. But it can even be nice to see, because this period of time people aren't buying yet, but they might be window shopping, so you might see a boost in favorites. So yeah, if you're seeing that, guys, don't freak out. It's really, really normal that people will do a ton of favorites, and then in a couple of months they'll come shopping from their favorites.
Exactly.
Debbie's given us the history of the spoonful of sugar. Yep. Vaccine, the polio vaccine was given in a sugar cube. I remember getting that one when I was little. That's the nicest way to give a vaccine. I hate jabs. So inject. I'm just realizing that, what do people in other countries call them? It's probably not jabs.
This particular vaccine was called the jab, but all of them have just been called needles or vaccines or shots.
Yeah. Yes, shots. That's probably the term I was looking for.
Yep.
Oh, Melissa, I hadn't even heard of that. I do 3 invoices on the outside when I ship to Canada. We have a Canadian here. Do you need 3 invoices stuck on the outside of your package?
No. Because I order stuff from international because I buy way too much, and so some of them are going to be international. And they usually just have a single shipping label unless they're coming through a courier like UPS or FedEx. And then there's the brokerage fee on top of it, but also they need those invoices for doing their brokerage stuff and all the other custom stuff that they have to do. But if you're sending it through Royal Mail, USPS, whatever your local carrier is, your local postal outlet, then you don't need to include all that. You just need the label, which if it doesn't include the customs information, then you need a CN22 customs form, which just is the declaration of this is how much value it is. And that's all that's needed. No invoices are needed outside the box, inside the box, or anywhere else. You just, as long as that customs information is there, that's all that's needed.
Yeah. I assume this has just been, because I heard this right from when I started, like in 2008, probably before. I assume what has happened is people have been aware of this for one company needing this, and have passed this off as advice, and people are still passing it off as advice. But if you go and you ask your shipping company, what do I need to ship here? That's the best advice you can get for anything. Like, people are afraid to ship internationally. Take a box of your items down and say, if I was to ship this to France, what do I need to do?
Yeah.
And they're the people that can help you. They're the biggest experts. It's ridiculously easy. I know I have a horrible memory in that I remember all these stupid advice like I heard in 2008, and I don't remember where I heard it from.
Yeah.
So it's easy to pass things off as this is the truth, and then somebody else will hear it. That was one of the first things Debbie told me when joining eRank, and I really love it, is we try and always have the backup. We try and have the receipts to say why we're saying the thing that we're saying, and it makes it so much easier. Like, so many times I'll sit and I'm about to say something, it's like, no, let's find the links for that, and you go and have a look. It's like, no, that's a fake thing in my head. So,
cite your sources.
Exactly. Yep. The Geek Authority. Oh, I'm clicking on the wrong thing. I've got too many chat windows up. I'm trying to click on the other chat. What about sales coupons for the holiday? Few for the holidays or many? Yeah. For the up and coming holidays, do we need sales and coupons? That depends. You don't need any. Make sure your sales, what you're doing, is legal. This is something that Etsy should talk about a lot more. There is laws for how often you can have sales. Some countries have bigger rules than other countries. I think Sophie said France, you're only allowed to have sales at certain times or something. I might be misremembering that, so check. So make sure you can legally have sales. Some people seem to like to have this strategy of having sales all the time. That might not be legal where you are. Also, for customers window shopping just now and come back in a couple of months and see you still have that same sale on, then it's not a sale, is it? That's your price. So people aren't that dumb. Coupons, up to you. Again, you can have
a reason to give money off. Don't just give money because you want to get sales. Everyone wants to get sales, but have an incentive. They have to sign up for your email list, and then those special people get a coupon or something like that. Don't necessarily just try and beat every price. Do not raise your prices to then have a sale, because that's illegal in most countries. It's anti-consumer, anti competitive.
And it
But
sucks.
I'm someone that does not run sales, especially during the holidays. Everyone is shopping. So you can run sales, and that might appeal to some people. That might bring some more people in. You get that nice cross out of your regular price with a sale price, and everybody loves a deal. But everybody is shopping, which means if your item is good enough to sell without a sale, you might as well get full price for it. I think my first year on Etsy, I ran sales. I ran a Black Friday sale. I'm someone that doesn't run sales throughout the year. I might on a Friday the 13th or on like a special holiday, but generally I don't run sales. So it was great that I ran a Black Friday sale. But ever since then, I have not seen a decrease in sales whatsoever, because more people are just shopping. People want a deal, but that's not necessarily a deal breaker if you don't run a sale.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some people having a sale, some shops on Etsy having a sale might draw people into Etsy. But once they're here and they've got their credit card out and they're already shopping, if they find something they love in your shop, they're not going to be put off because you don't have a sale. Think about how you shop yourself. Through the rest of the year, I spend a lot more time considering my purchases. On the run up to Christmas, I kind of am not very sensible with my buying. I don't think about it as much as I should.
it's true.
So yeah, people aren't necessarily going to worry. And sales, again, it's a good strategy for Etsy to bring people into Etsy. The chance of you being featured by Etsy is very low. If your items aren't getting seen anyone anyway, no one's going to spot you're having a sale.
Yeah,
So generally sales work if you have a really big following that you can entice with a sale if it helps them. And I would use that strategically. Why are you having a sale? It can be a good thing if your shop's been on vacation to get rid of
yeah.
things stock you want rid of. To me, it's never made sense at the busiest time of the year to run a sale, but at the time when people are spending money. So
Well, when we do run sales, we do it more through our social media. So you have to already know who we are. You already have to be following us or have purchased from us before to benefit from the sale, instead of an Etsy sale, we do like a special social media promo
yeah,
kind of thing.
and that's an incentive for people to follow you. So you're encouraging them to follow you. I've been
And that way you
exactly.
can get sales throughout the year. If you get people following your social media, you now have potential buyers throughout the year instead of just during the holidays. Because if you're only boosting sales for the holidays and then everybody disappears, that doesn't actually help your shop. That helps you right now, but that doesn't help you in the long run. But if you can get people coming back by having them follow you, by having them join an email list or whatever the situation is, then you benefit all year round, which is the best thing to do.
Yeah. So there's, if you're doing coupons or sales or something, do it to trap people. But you do it to bring people in, to say you get this discount code if you sign up for my email list or if you follow my social media,
Yeah,
because then you've got a potential for return customers. Or if you decided Etsy wasn't for you and went to a different platform, or if Etsy decided you weren't for Etsy and sent you away, you have captured your people. So that, to me, it's worth money to give a bit of a discount to get people to follow you. It's not necessarily worth to give a bit of a discount because you've got no sales and you think it will bring more people in.
exactly.
Because we've probably all been there when you start out and it's very, very quiet. And yeah, when you really slash your prices, the type of customers you get quite often aren't worth the effort to answer the messages to. I've certainly found.
And if you run sales too often, or if you always have a big holiday sale, it's harder to get people to buy when things are full price. just because they're so used to seeing the lower price.
Yep, some companies have actually totally killed themselves with that strategy. They had sales so often thinking it's a bit of a loss leader. It's not a loss leader. People only buy at the lower price, and if they're making a loss, it's not a feasible company anymore.
Exactly.
On that happy note, guys, we've actually managed to go 5 minutes over. Yay.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
There's
I'll make the executive decision. We won't see you next week. Hello, gorgeous. And that's not you, Brian. We won't see you next week because Starla is doing speaking amplified next week. So if you haven't signed up for that, make sure and do that. But it'll be myself and Brian, I believe, in 2 weeks' time. So let us know anything you want us to talk about, and we'll see you then. Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and do all of